Ahmanet has been through 5,000 years without a trace of decay. Ahmanet's face is covered with scriptures, and his yellow pupils look very beautiful. Humans locked Ahmanet firmly with iron chains, and injected highly poisonous mercury into Ahmanet's body to suppress Ahmanet's power. Ahmanet was once an Egyptian princess. In a battle, Ahmanet became the sole heir to the throne. But just before ascending the throne, the pharaoh's concubine gave birth to a boy, who replaced Emma's qualifications for the throne. In order to regain power, Ahmanet came to the altar, signed an agreement with the god of death, and obtained the terrifying dark power. Death gave Ahmanet the ruby-studded dagger. Ahmanet killed his own father and even the newborn baby. Ahmanet found a living person to prepare for the Grim Reaper's arrival. But at this moment, the guards found them. An arrow pierced Ahmanet's body. The guards pressed Ahmanet on the altar, wrapped bandages on Ahmanet's body, made him into a mummy and put it in the sarcophagus. Ahmanet's remains were subsequently buried in the tomb. Until thousands of years later, 2 soldiers accidentally blew up the tomb during the battle, and a huge stone statue stood in front of their eyes. Colonel Green led the archaeological team to the scene, and their discovery was bound to be a disaster. There was also a strange sound coming from the cave. The 3 slid down the rope, and the inscription on the wall looked like a pharaoh's palace. After several people entered the palace, 6 god statues surrounded the pool, and there seemed to be something inside. Nick Morton took out his pistol and broke the rope, and an ancient tomb slowly rose. This scene shocked everyone. Suddenly, a group of spiders crawled out, and the spiders crawled onto Vail's body. Nick Morton stared at the statue, as if seeing a vision of Ahmanet. Visions takes Nick Morton into the desert. The illusion was interrupted by Jenny and returned to reality. A helicopter pulled the sarcophagus out of the hole. Just as they were about to leave, a sandstorm appeared in the desert. Meanwhile, Vail, who was bitten by a spider, mutated. When Vail came to the sarcophagus, his teammates noticed that Vail was behaving strangely and asked him, but Vail stabbed him in the body. Then turned around and walked towards Nick Morton. In a critical moment, they pulled out their guns and shot Vail dead. Strange things happened. The plane's computer suddenly malfunctioned, and then a crow smashed the glass. When everyone looked into the distance, a large flock of crows appeared in front of them. The crow attacked the plane in a suicidal manner, and the plane lost control and began to descend rapidly. At a critical moment, Nick Morton gave Jenny a parachute. Then the chain was released and Jenny was ejected from the plane, and Nick Morton died as the plane fell. Just when everyone was sad, Nick Morton was resurrected. 2 police officers found a sarcophagus in the wilderness. When the police officers stepped forward to check, they were sucked into a mummy by the mummy. Soon the 2 cops became part of the mummy army. The resurrected Ahmanet came to the city, controlled the mouse and caught Nick Morton. Then he took Nick Morton to a monastery to prepare for the ceremony of offering sacrifices. Ahmanet shattered the statue and took out a ruby dagger. Just when Ahmanet stabbed Nick Morton's body, but stopped. Ahmanet discovers that the ruby on the dagger is missing, without which the Grim Reaper cannot be summoned. Just then, Jenny broke in and interrupted the ceremony. Nick Morton broke free and the 2 escaped quickly. On the way to escape, the car suddenly rolled over and fell down the hillside. Ahmanet caught up, and the special forces arrived in time to subdue Ahmanet. They were then taken to a secret base, where Nick Morton met Ahmanet again. At this time, Ahmanet was firmly chained, and his body was injected with mercury. Ahmanet made eye contact and pulled Nick Morton into the illusion again. Nick Morton saw all of Ahmanet's life. Ahmanet was resurrected because of a contract signed with the Grim Reaper 5,000 years ago. Only when he helps Ahmanet let the Grim Reaper come again, Ahmanet can gain the terrible dark power. Just finished speaking, the mercury made Ahmanet feel unbearable pain, and the 2 returned to reality. Ahmanet spit out a large amount of quicksilver from his mouth, and Ahmanet climbed onto the chain. The soldiers who came were thrown to the ground by Ahmanet and sucked into mummies. Ahmanet chanted the mantra and all the glass on the building started to break. Ahmanet came to the center of the city and summoned a huge sandstorm. The sandstorm formed a terrifying grimace, devouring people. Ahmanet felt the call of the ruby. Ahmanet resurrected a large number of mummies, then got the ruby, and planned to resurrect the Grim Reaper again. In order to prevent Ahmanet's revenge, Nick Morton and Jenny came to the tomb. The 2 were knocked into the sewer by the mummy on the way. Ahmanet appeared behind Jenny when the 2 surfaced. Ahmanet drags Jenny into the water. Nick Morton tried and failed to rescue him. Ahmanet reappears and tells Nick Morton that only by obeying himself can he gain the power of the Grim Reaper. Nick Morton turned Ahmanet down again when he saw the dead Jenny. Ahmanet attacked Nick Morton, forcing Nick Morton to submit. Unexpectedly, Nick Morton took the dagger. He stabs the dagger into his body, gaining the power of the Grim Reaper. Nick Morton locks the Grim Reaper inside himself. Nick Morton sucks Ahmanet dry with mystical powers. Then revived Jenny. After Nick Morton left Jenny, Nick Morton resurrected the dead Chris, and the 2 embarked on the road to lifting the curse.